Today I'm going to show you how to sew welt pockets which are angled. So if I flip that up, that's how it's going to look when it's finished. And it should be that this line, this edge of your pocket, is in line with the front of your waistcoat, okay? And they sit so that they're angled, and I place them so that they are in line, the bottom edge is in line with the bottom of the waistcoat, okay? So they sit at an angle. You also get an angled pocket, welt pocket, on the front breast of a left breast of a jacket, men's jacket. So it might be useful if you're doing one of those as well. So to sew them on, as with the other welt pocket that I've shown you previously, they are sewn on upside down. So you then end up flipping them up like that. So I've lined this up, and we've got 2 on this side, and then there'll be 2 on the other side of the waistcoat as well, on the other front. And what I've done is I've lined it up with my markings. I've checked that they are the same distance, the front and the back, as each other. Okay, so the same distance here as here. And then what I'm going to do to start off with is I'm going to sew those on just on their own, just so that they're in place and they don't move. So I'm using an industrial sewing machine, and I'm using the width of the foot as a guide of from the edge of the welt to the waistcoat, okay, or the welt edge that's being sewn to the waistcoat. So I'm just using that as a guide, and I guess that's about 1/4 of an inch in depth. So here you see it is sewn end to end, okay. And then what happens is I've got 2 pocket bags per pocket, and I'm going to line up the edge of my pocket bag with the edge of the welt, and then I'm going to sew that on, and I'm going to sew it so that I'm literally just sewing where the welt is, okay. Can you just see that you can feel the depth of the welt there and there? So I'm just going to sew from that point to where my fingernail is there, and that's going to be the same distance as that initial stitch line. So I'm going over that initial stitch line, so I'm using again the width of my foot to determine how far from the edge of the welt that I'm going to sew. Okay, now this is the bit, actually I'm just going to go back, just going to go I hadn't gone to the edge of the welt there, so I've just gone back and just done that. So I'm from the edge to edge. Now for the other piece of pocketing, when I sew that on, this is where you've then got to use your, to a certain extent, your imagination. You need to think forward of what's going to happen when that welt is turned up, because it's angled. So that is the angle that it's sitting at the moment, okay. When it folds up, it's going to be a mirror image of that, so it's going to sit like that, okay. So if you've watched the other video that I've done, I said that what you would do when you sew this line is you'd sew from exactly the same spot on this side as you would on that side, so you'd match it. However, if you did that here, you'd end up showing, when you cut it, it would be open here, okay. You'd be able to see inside the pocket, and it'd be messy. So what you need to do is just set it, your pocket opening, to be a little further back, and then on this side you can match it or you can set it back, okay. So I'm going to just sew it, and you just have to believe me that what I'm saying is true, okay, and it'll probably make more sense once you see it. Okay, so then I'm going to cut through, and I'm going to cut my little arrows, my corners, so cut to the way you've just stitched. And then we're going to tuck everything inside. Make sure that it all lies nice and flat. This one. down. Can you see that's angled, and then that sits at pretty well the same angle? So if I'd sewn it to there, if I'd sewn it to there, we'd have a hole. Okay, so it just needs to be sat further back, because, well, you wouldn't have a hole, it would look like that basically, so you'd see lining. So you just need to angle it so that it sits further back. Okay, I'm just going to go through the process of the finishing that pocket, and then I'll show you again on the lower pocket. So the next step, once you've turned it through, you can press this at this point if you want to. I'm not going to, I'm just going to machine it, make sure it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to sew my pocket bag. And sew around the bottom of the pocket bag twice, just to make sure it's nice and strong. And then the last thing to do is just top stitch the welt down. Okay, and that's my pocket complete. Just needs a press. Once it's pressed, those little bits will go, and there we are with a nice angled welt pocket. So I'm going to do the next one. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the welt on using the width of the foot from the edge of the welt, like that. And that means I can take the pins out. Then I'm going to get my 2 pieces of pocket, and I'm going to lay one of it over the top, and I'm going to then machine on the line that I've just machined, and I'm going to just machine the width of the welt. Make sure, if you've already done this pocket, that you keep your pocket bag out of the way. So I've sewn the width of the welt. Just check by flipping it back if you want to, just to see. I'm a little bit under there, so I'm going to go back and literally put one more stitch in so that it's on the welt. And then I'm going to line up my other pocket bag. And on this one, so that's where my pocket welt is, and I'm going to imagine that it's going to come back like that and like that. So I'm going to just machine to about 1/4 inch in, and just over. I don't go as far on the back as I could. I'd rather keep it still in a little bit, so just to be cautious. So I probably line it up on the back one, maybe a stitch over, but I line it up, but then make sure that on the front that I come back a good 1/4 inch. And then get some sharp snips or scissors, cut through. I'm going to do the other front as well on this video, just so that you can see me do it 2 more times. And then bring your pocket bag inside, and then your other pocket bag, pull it through to the inside. And then flip the body of the waistcoat out of the way. Get your little triangle that you cut there. Now you'll be able to sew it quite easily on the back, but when you come to the front, flip it back, your triangle probably won't let you catch it in, which isn't a problem. It doesn't matter, because once you sew it like this, that will hold it anyway. Okay, so and that's your 2 angled welt pockets done on that side. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch that pocket bag down to the bottom of my waistcoat. I'm going to trim the excess pocket bag without trimming the waistcoat body down the sides, and I'm just going to trim that off, and then that front is ready for its collar and then to be constructed. Press it and then it's ready. So grab my other side, and what you need to do is also make sure that you have got a pair of fronts and that your angled pockets on this side are mirroring the angled pockets on the other side. Okay, so these ones are going this way, the ones I've just done were going the other way. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to machine using the width of the foot to the edge of the welt pocket. Machine, I'm going to do these both at the same time, so I'm going to machine both of them on like that. And at this stage, this is the point where you might just want to check that when you flip them up they are the right angle to match the front of the waistcoat. Then you take your pocket bags, lay that one there, top of the welt, and then you're going to stitch over the line that you've just stitched. You can do that all at the same time if you want to. And because I've cut all my pocket bags the same size, I haven't got to worry about whether one's for the top pocket, one's for the bottom pocket. So I've done both of those, and then I'm going to get my other pocket bag, and I'm just going to mark where that is. So for the back one I'm going to match it, that where that stitch line goes to, and for the front one, you can imagine it's doing that, so I'm just going to sit in from there. Okay, so always think that the one on the back you can go a little bit further, but the one on the front you want to go inside, so a bit shorter. Okay, so I've done both of those, and then I'm going to cut through, create the little triangles at the ends by cutting to the end of the stitch lines that I've just done to add the pocket bags, and then I'm going to flip that through. And then machine the pocket bag. And then last step, there we go, and that's the pocket bag, angled pocket, done. Now on what my little tip for if you are doing waistcoats that have got 4 pockets or 3 pockets, one above another, is always do the bottom ones and the bottom pocket bags first if you can. I didn't on the other side, but I am on this side, and the reason for that is that it's easier because that one is now out of the way. When I sew this one, that one won't get in the way at all, so I've got no chance of stitching it when I'm not supposed to. So if you remember when I did the other side, I had to make sure I flipped the pocket bag out of the way. Well, just so that you don't have to remember to do that, do your bottom pocket bag first, and then you haven't got that concern, because naturally it will sit going down the body, unless it's a really big pocket, because the pocket welt is forcing it down that way. You've sewn it that way. So this one, get your triangle out if it will let you do it, and then sew your pocket. Sew your pocket bag. And last step is stitch your welt down. And there we go. Okay, hopefully that is a bit of a quick video of doing that, but hopefully that has helped. I've done another video which is just a straight welt pocket, and there is also another video of that process slowed down. So if you want to have a look at those two, they might help if I was going through that a bit too quickly. But the main reason I wanted to show you is to consider that when you sew your second piece of pocket bag, you need to make sure that you set it back. Don't set it too far forward, because otherwise you end up seeing pocketing at the front of your pocket. Hope that's been of some use. Thank you for watching. Happy sewing.